Okay, we are going to discuss the difference between vectors and scalars. And I guess the first thing we'll do is just give you the definition of what a vector is. Then we'll give you the definition of a scalar. Then we'll try to give you a couple examples to try to make it very clear in terms of what's the difference between these two things. Vectors are kind of defined as something that has magnitude and direction. Scalars are basically things that have only magnitude. Okay, so when you look at these two things, they look very similar. There's one subtle difference, just that this has direction. Well, we probably want to talk about this term first. What is magnitude? Because a lot of times people are thrown off by that. You might even know the movie Despicable Me, where the evil Vector, who's kind of the villain in the movie, talks about how he has magnitude and direction. Magnitude basically means it's a number or a measurement or a size. So magnitude equals a size or a number, depending on what you want to look at that. Let's try to give you an example to help you a little bit with this. So I'm going to change my color here and go with just a different look. We're going to take a car, and we'll just draw one of my simple little ultra basic cars here. And we're just going to say this car is traveling at 15 meters per second. Right now, that is a scalar. Scalars, it's just, we don't know what it's doing other than moving at that speed. We're not even really sure what speed is, but for now, we probably know that speed means you're moving a certain rate. But unless I make this 15 meters per second to the east, it now just became a vector. Now we know exactly the direction that you're going. So if it's only a number, it's a scalar. So some other examples of scalars are things like distance. Oops, let me try to fix that big S there for a second. Just listing some examples here. If we go back to our car and just say that it traveled 100 meters, that is a distance. It doesn't mean we don't know anything more about this. If we now tell you that we also, again, if you're going to the east, you're going to travel 100 meters to the east, that 100 meters east now makes it a vector. So to kind of go over here, we talked about distance, we talked about speed as scalars. Well, to make these vectors, now we have different terms. We have distance with direction is what we would call displacement. And speed with direction is what we would call velocity. And there are other things like acceleration is a vector, and so are things like force, which is like a push. So those are all different examples of vectors. When you talk about different things that are scalars, we have speed, we have distance, things like weight. Sometimes it doesn't make any sense. You can't weigh 100 pounds to the north. Mass, time are all things that are considered scalars. So the biggest thing when you're talking about scalars versus vectors is vectors have a magnitude and a direction that they're going, where scalars will only have a magnitude or a number.